government encouraged the manufacture and importation of firearms for the criminals to use. It is intended to foster a feeling of insecurity which would lead the American people to voluntarily disarm themselves by passing laws against firearms, using drugs and hypnosis on mental patients in a process called Orion. The CIA calculated the desire in these people to open fire in schoolyards and thus inflame the anti-gun lobby. This plan is well underway and so far is working perfectly. The middle class is begging the government to do away with the Second Amendment. As from the book entitled Behold a Pale Horse by the late great Milton William Cooper, page 225 to be exact. Greetings, my fellow freedom lovers and sovereign thinkers. This is LL3's newest podcast. My name is Craig, transmitting from the beautiful swampy mangroves of South Florida. And today's date is Sunday, October 8th, 2017. So it is considered a banking holiday weekend, to be exact. Columbus Day, and some people may say gotta get rid of it because him being responsible for slaughtering many of the fellow natives in the New World. I am podcasting at CJ's Java Lounge, located at 400 Southwest 1st Avenue, Suite 1, along the beautiful New River of Fort Lauderdale. At the Yacht Club, to be exact, southwest section of the Andrews Avenue Bridge. Today I'm going to be mainly talking about a couple of things. There's a claim why government wants gun control and how the police shootings, more people supposedly got killed than what happened at the horrific event this past Sunday in Las Vegas. And Vegas prostitute, which she had a business relationship with Stephen Paddock. Remember, I always tell everyone out there, observe responsibly. Because sometimes information can be pretty inaccurate. However, the reason why I addressed that from the very beginning of my show, because you're seeing right now what's going on. Hillary Clinton saying about repealing the Second Amendment. Free Zakaria, who is a Council of Foreign Relations stooge of New World Order bellboy, talking about gun control after the shooting, and had the audacity to use the former Prime Deputy Minister in Australia saying, since then we had no more massacres from the port. I think it's Port Arthur, I believe, or Lake Arthur, one of those areas that happened. But people don't realize violent crime still happens from a gun-free society. Burglaries, muggings, rapings, home invasions, and self-defense is against the law. If you still believe you want the government to make you feel safe in these atrocities, then you're being played, being fooled. It only works in the cartoons like underdogs. Now when I see it, that's what kind of world they want us to live. That is a total pipe dream, my friends. I don't care what your belief is for me. And with Zakaria, whatever his name is, at Yahoo, another one of the stooges, CFR guy. Some people, members of my family, like watching him. I go, why? He's nothing more than brainwashed material, as far as I'm concerned. On an overall scale. I'll be very frank. So, what I'm going to be doing, I'm actually going to leave the book, William Cooper's Behold a Pale Horse, on the website archive.org, which is an internet library. Very good stuff. Very, very good site you should check out. I'm going to leave that on my footnotes. And so you folks can really see for yourself. And I'm going to do another one here. Leave another note here from yourwire.com. Actually, it's written by Sean the Tabatabai, which is October 7th, 2015, has a little article on William Cooper himself. And you can listen to it also. It's like 3 hours long. You download it. So it's pretty cool. Observe responses. I'm going to add that in there as well. So you hear the audio version if you want. That'd be pretty cool. And of course, the membership roster from the CFR. With my little extra goodies here. On Fareed Zakaria. Yeah, Fareed Zakaria. He's like up there with the other idiots, like Paul Wolfowitz and Bill and Chelsea Clinton. Yeah, they're all members of the Council of Foreign Relations, folks. All you gotta do is read, look, examine. That's the kind of people you want running our lives. Shoot, I don't. Alright, well, to be very frank, let's just hit it off. Came out yesterday by Bob Livingston from Bob Livingston Alerts. It says the title here, Why Governments Want Gun Control. As the night follows day, the mass shooting in Las Vegas has increased the pressure on and from the political establishment to begin limiting guns and gun accessories. Of course, they are unthinking people who sincerely believe that removing guns from society or even passing one more law will make everyone safe. The politicians and state media understand that, and they use it to their advantage and pour on the propaganda. But here's what those unthinking people and those who will tend to accede to the overwhelming pressure to ban this or that thing or pass this or that law in the name of safety fail to understand. Government men and politicians are not interested in your safety. They are interested in staying in power and maintaining the illusion that they are interested in your safety and well-being. All modern governments are organized crime, legitimized by the police power of the state. In rare fits of honesty, government men will even admit this. One of the definitions of a nation state is that the state has a monopoly on legitimized violence, and the state ought to have a monopoly on legitimized violence. It is the premise of your question that people are going to resist a tyrannical government by shooting machine guns at American troops. That's insane. New York Congressman Gerald Nadler in a 2012 interview. There is illegal crime and there is legal crime. We tend to accept government crime because it has made itself politically legal and politically plottable with such propaganda myths as democracy. All economic power, political power, and religious power are vested in the state. The state manages a system backed by police power. Police power is the civil and military. Disarmament first comes by word and psychological warfare. The wide use of the word democracy is proof that people don't know freedom from a house cat. The word democracy neutralizes and disarms the mind to the reality of authoritarianism and the danger to personal freedom. Adolf Hitler called his Nazi Germany a great democracy, and he disarmed the German citizens. Well, some people may deny that. However, there was the Weapons Act of 1938 that disarmed the people that were Germans, who were Jews. So there is some merit to that. The German state under Hitler was organized crime protected by visible military power, whereas American so-called democracy is a police state without jackboots and the swastika. Police power in a modern-day democracy appears more benevolent because it is more suitable, more invisible. But police power is ever present. It normally isolates and prosecutes enemies of the state, radiating its presence through the controlled media for public obedience. This type of police state is accurately described as benevolent totalitarianism. Sometimes, however, it misfires and rears its despotic head in actions like Waco and Ruby Ridge. All national states have one thing in common. They want all uncontrolled arms of the people confiscated. The only example of controlled arms in the hands of the people is Switzerland. even in this situation, is quasi-military for home defense. Why do all governments want to confiscate arms of their people? It's quite simple. The government political system fears an armed citizenry. Organized crime, no matter how legitimate it may appear, wants no risk of being overthrown and no personal risk of the politicians and bureaucrats. It wants no threat to the state that it cannot calculate and control. The state is therefore the enemy of the people. Otherwise, it would not fear the people and want to disarm them. We can clearly understand disarmament because we recognize that the state and its bureaucrats and politicians are on one side and the people are on the other. As long as the word democracy means freedom in the minds of the people, the long attrition of personal liberty will continue with or without gun ownership. The word democracy by and itself has disarmed us. Yet I hear people express the great losses of firearms at the same time use the word democracy like it was cotton candy. Disarmament comes via democracy. As long as we defend democracy, we are pro-gun control, whatever we are conscious of it or not. What, pray tell, caused the great loss of freedom of the American people? Democracy, of course. Democracy is the American version of National Socialism. Passive words like democracy disarm the mind, and then it's only a matter of time before you volunteer to hand over your guns to keep and bear arms. It's the opposite of democracy. The frivolous debate of public safety against crime and criminals is laughable, except media hype actually persuades more and more people of this pacifist nonsense. The bold and insane issue of gun control is what cause of gun violence is guns. Meanwhile, the U.S. government is selling arms to terrorists, rebels, and creating violence with weapons of death all over the world. The strategy of public persuasion with propaganda is far less risky to the state than physical force. Even although, keep in mind that propaganda is force and leads at certain conclusions in the favor of government. Disarmament propaganda has been going on in the U.S. for a long time, along with stepped requirements of gun registration and piecemeal and continuous legislation. And if you think that the National Rifle Association is interested in protecting gun rights, you don't know its history. It's backed gun control legislation of the past, just like how it has now come out encouraging the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives to revisit the legality of bump stocks. Affixing your name and identity to the NRA is like putting a fox in charge of the henhouse. Anyone naive enough to believe that the NRA membership list won't end up with gun confiscation authorities is too naive to own a gun. Gun confiscation is serious business and has sorry about that. I got a little interruption there. Gun confiscation is a serious business. It has to do with basic survival of human liberty. Americans should protect their private guns and keep their guns private. It is the first law of survival against the organized crime of the state. Authorities know they cannot confiscate guns in one fell swoop without fomenting an armed rebellion that even some members of the police state will join. So they do it piecemeal, through stealth, subterfuge, and gradualism. But whenever massacres like Las Vegas occur, the steps they take are larger and bolder until political climate dies down. We see it now in the form of public outrage calling for everything from the killing of the suppressor law to ban on the bump stocks to call for mandatory insurance for gun owners to restrictions on the number of guns individuals can own to immediate outlawing all guns owned by individuals. Yes, a lot of well-meaning dupes will join government media hype for gun control. I am convinced that if Mitt Romney had been present when the Sandy Hook Massacre, which Las Vegas may well have been having a false flag occurred, Republicans would have joined him to pass gun control laws. The truth is, guns do not cause violence. What happened to our safety when all guns are in hands of power-hungry goons? They will plunder and kill under any pretext and without any pretext at all. The communist Russian government under Stalin killed more than 20 million of its citizens, and the communist Chinese killed more than 45 million, have no qualm with mass slaughter. Alice, the wimps who go along with gun control propaganda will discover to their horror that they are the enemy of the state. Mind control is awesome power. Get your defense guns before it's too late. Incidentally, short guns are meaningless, and most people who have a little or no experience with them. If you buy and own a handgun, you must train some more. Long guns like 12 gauge shotgun and with number 4 buckshot in the home discourage attacks under person and property. Very little instruction are good for seniors whose eyesight is poor and whose hands are less steady. Home and self-defense is a human right, not a privilege. The man, Mr. Livingston, is absolutely correct. Owning firearms is a natural right. They can say repeal the Second Amendment, but you know what? You gotta repeal the Ninth as well. Enumerated rights. Our rights are natural born under our U.S. Bill of Rights culture. So you can send me all your useless garbage, even I see on Facebook at times about we should have insurance and mandatory and all that. I will fall asleep or take a dump reading the newspaper than reading or hearing this pretentious rhetoric. To be frank, I am not a member of the National Rifle Association. Even NRA members should be infuriated. If you actually hear their words talking about supporting bump stock, you should start reading your bylaws and call out these clowns. Yes, the NRA does have bylaws, and they have to honor it, enforce it, and you got to counter it if they don't. Another form of hypnotism, my friend. They say that what happened to Omar Mateen at the Pulse nightclub shootings. They may say it's a false flag too. I just say it was New World Order agenda, but the hype still continue, making people feel guilty and bad because you folks own firearms. But if the state has, it's okay. And look what they did. This is just an example what government has done. And if you recall, if you study history in the United States, they wouldn't even let people who were African American own firearms in the late 1800s, because whether they're free or not, they weren't allowed to own. They said no Negroes are allowed to count firearms, regardless. Even in some states, you have to have permission by their masters. You want to do that again? You want that revisited? I don't. Like I said in the past, self-defense is righteous, regardless of what you look like, where you're from, what your gender is, etc. It's a human, natural born right. And they want to take that away from you, that tool. We're going to leave all your eggs, security eggs, in the hands of the government. Big mistake. I've said it in the past. You should look up Innocence Betrayed by the JPFO. Came out around 2007. You have to order it through their website or go to archive.org and maybe it looks at this. You will have in the library and you can watch it for yourselves. I am going to put the link on there, archive.org, for the Behold a Pure Horse book. So you can just, boom, I gave you leeway. Bam! You can see it for yourselves. Alright? This is why, my friends, William Cooper talked about this. I read the book. Then I went further. Because I remember what late William Cooper said. Don't take my word for it. Do your own research. And judge for yourself. Alright. Speaking of the state knows best. This one came from thefreethoughtproject.com. And Doug Owen from Blacklisted News had it posted on his site too. Give him a little love. Tell him look the third said so. you can always plug in him. You got some real good stuff too. All right, so this one here. Since 2016, cops have killed 3 times as many citizens in 4 decades of mass shootings combined. By Matt Angus, came out today. Hillary Clinton called for repealing the Second Amendment. This behind-the-scenes, deep state puppet master epitomizes what those in favor of gun control really want. Only government can have guns. Every time a lunatic who is usually on some form of mind-altering pharmaceutical goes on a shooting rampage, if the do-gooders in Washington, with the aid of their citizen flocks, take to the TV and internet to call for disarming the American people. The citizens who call themselves and their neighbors to be disarmed likely think no deeper than the shallow speeches, even by the political blowhards, designed to appeal to emotion only. They do not think of what happens during and after the government attempts to remove guns from society. They are also completely ignored the fact that criminals do not obey laws, and making guns illegal would have zero effect on criminals possessing guns. In the perfect status world in which only government has guns, we're told that crime rates would plummet. People wouldn't be murdered, gun violence would be brought to its knees, and a disarmed heaven on earth will ensue. But how effective would disarming the citizen actually be at preventing gun violence, while at the same time keeping guns in the hands of government? One simple way to determine the outcome would be to compare mass shootings in America with those killed by police. It is entirely too easy to compare all senseless murders carried out by the state to those carried out by citizens, so we will zoom in with a microscope. However, just as a point of reference, the 20th century alone, governments were responsible for 260 million deaths worldwide. That number is greater than all deaths of illicit drug use, STDs, homicides, and traffic accidents combined. Now on the micro comparison. According to a comprehensive database of all mass shootings have taken place since 1992, constructed by Mother Jones, that there have been exactly 700 deaths attributed to mass shootings that have taken place on American soil. As Mother Jones noted in their database, they exclude shootings stemming from more conventional crimes such as armed robbery or gang violence. No other news outlets and research have published larger tallies that include a wide range of gun crimes in which 4 or more people have been either wounded or killed. While those larger data sets of multiple victim shootings may be used for studying the broader problem of gun violence, our investigation provides as in-depth to look at the distinct phenomenon of mass shootings, from the firearms used to mental health factors and growing copycat problem. If we were to compare the 700 citizens killed in mass shootings to citizens killed by police by the same time frame, the comparison would be off the charts. For the sake of simplicity, we will compare all the mass shooting deaths in the last 35 years to the number of citizens killed by police this year. A total number of people killed by police this year, as of October 7, 2017, is 926. The number is set to increase by 1 on average every 8 hours. We are comparing the time period of 35 years in 10 months, and the ratio is 1.3 to 1. Citizens killed by cops versus citizens killed by mass shootings. That is a massive difference. The comparison is staggering and should shock the conscience. But for the sake of sensationalism, let's compare all citizens killed by cops since the beginning of 2016 to a number of mass shooting deaths. Last year, American cops killed 1,163 citizens. When we add to the 911 citizens killed this year. 9/11 citizens killed this year. We get 2,074 citizens who lived were brought to a halt by the sworn to protect in just the last 21 months. Alone in 2016, cops killed almost double the amount of people killed in U.S. mass shootings in the last 30 years. But if we expanded it to this year, it's nearly triple. As the blowhards spew their nonsense about gun grabbing from law-abiding citizens and those in government demand action, all these people conveniently ignore the great pink elephant in the living room. Cops in America are killing citizens at an alarming rate. In the United States overall, the rate is 4.9 per 100,000 among citizens. Edward Stringham reported in 2015, although official statistics have historically been scant, we now know that police killed 1,100 Americans in 2014 and 476 in the first 5 months of 2015. Given that America is roughly 765,000 sworn police officers, that means the police against citizen kill rate is more than 145 per 100,000. The police kill rate is nearly 30 times than the average citizen, yet somehow people still call for disarming citizens and say nothing about the police. And no, the citizens are not becoming more violent. In fact, humanity is the safest time in history ever, and violent crime continues to drop significantly. And there's a violent crime rate sheet too. It has been decreased. This is by the Bureau of Justice Statistics from 1973 to 2000. Interesting. Next time your friends try to tell you that citizens should be disarmed, tell them what that really means. They want only cops who kill indiscriminately with zero accountability and far more often to be the ones with guns. Yep. And just to let you know, this man was an honorably discharged veteran from the United States Marine Corps and former intelligence operator directly tasked by the NSA. Interesting. Yep, that's Matt Angus. So it's something you gotta look at, my friend. Will you be trusting the government for your security? I say hell no. Because in my past episodes, I did talk about sovereign immunity, tort liability. Technically, the police aren't obligated to protect you as an individual. So you want citizens like yourself to be disarmed? That's called suicidal entrapment. Yeah, I can say that. Suicidal entrapment for the people who can't comprehend real quick. You know what I'm saying, right? My oh my. I gotta let you folks know one thing for sure. Don't fall for the hype and the hoopla, man. You're blowing smoke up your own rear end. Remember, if you haven't learned the lessons from 9/11, then you're duped. Yeah. Have us be pat down like little boys and girls. Now they want to take our firearms away. They want registration. You know what? Anyone that supports that deserves a big peanut microphone in their mouths. That's some of the people I know on Facebook talk about that. They go, oh, I'm a gun owner. I don't care. You're clueless. You want the Nazis. You want some tyrannical government and support tyranny and all that stuff. You got no excuses, my friends. None. You don't have defense. You have no merit. Well, one thing for sure. This will blow back in their faces. Guarantee you that, my friends. So you keep the momentum going. You don't give up. You don't listen to the deception. Never, ever believe their hype. The past is today's greatest teacher. And the consciousness of awareness is going up. I can tell you that. And I am not endorsed by the NRA or Gun Owners of America. I am a lifetime member of Gun Owners of America, but I'm inspired to do this, not hired. So folks, you understand that. All right, I'm gonna go one more here, and this one is about Stephen Paddock. This is from the DailyMail.com. I was born bad. Las Vegas prostitute who romped with mass killer Stephen Paddock says he enjoyed violent rape fantasies. As he revealed, he boasted he had always been evil. Interesting. This is by Chris Palanis from Mail Online. A Las Vegas prostitute who was hired by a murderer, Stephen Paddock, has spoken out about the violent sex sessions and how he bragged about having bad blood. The woman who spoke anonymously said she would spend hours drinking and gambling in Sin City with Paddock, which she described as paranoid and obsessive. If he hit a winning streak, he would take her back to the room for really aggressive violent sex, including living out rape fantasies, she said. Sounds like a distorted individual, huh? They always want those patsies, man. Weak-minded and all that. Paddock also boasted about his bank robber father, saying, "The bad streak is in my blood and I was born bad," according to text seen by the Sun on Sunday. 27-year-old woman said Paddock, 64, would often rant about conspiracy theories, including how 9/11 was orchestrated by the U.S. government. The escort, who said Paddock paid her $6,000 a time for the meetings, also had text when he described tying her up while you screamed for help. She spoke out after family members revealed that Paddock often consorted with prostitutes who were laid on by hotels while he paid regular visits to the city. Officials close to the investigation to the shooting revealed that Paddock may have hired an escort in days before the massacre. The receipt from Paddock's hotel room showed 2 people ordered room service in the days before the attack. It's interesting. So a lot of things are here. Some photos. Meanwhile, investigators said they are interviewing other call girls in the hope of ascertaining the motive for the worst mass shooting in American history. Well, wouldn't need no count, right? In Paddock's room, official found a piece of paper containing a number of phone numbers, but they reiterate no suicide note was found. Law enforcement have said they are confident Paddock carried out the Mandalay Bay massacre from his hotel room alone. All being stripped naked, right? I'm going to say here, hold on here. Las Vegas Metropolitan Police Department Under Sheriff Kevin McHale said on Friday that investigators are sure no one else was in the room before he shot dead 58 and injured almost 500 on Sunday. Earlier, NBC News has reported a mysterious charger that did not match any of the Paddock's cell phone. There was the possibility another person had been in Paddock beforehand. However, later the police said they now match all cell phones, all the chargers, and say they belong to Paddock. Here's a photo of his father, Benjamin Hoskins Paddock. Yep, they got photos of that, fingerprints, all that good stuff. So it was earlier revealed that Benjamin Paddock, Stephen's father, was FBI's most wanted bank robber and confidence man, known as Big Daddy. Benjamin. That's interesting. No, Benjamin was captured in Las Vegas in 1960 and escaped and lived on the run for a decade. He was described as a psychopathic, armed, and dangerously suicidal, and the public were not told to approach the man known as Chrome Dome or Old Baldy. Stephen was just 7 years old and living in Arizona with his father. Benjamin Paddock was nabbed by the FBI for a series of bank robberies. At the time, Stephen's mother tried desperately to shield her young son and his 3 siblings from the devastating news that their father was living a double life as a bank robber and con man. We were trying to keep Steve from knowing his father is held as a bank robber, a neighbor told the Tucson Daily Citizen on July 29, 1960. I hardly know the family, but Steve is a nice boy. It's a terrible thing. Well, it's interesting because even Sheriff Lombardo from Vegas said, well, he had a double life. Interesting. Probably read Benjamin Paddock's files, right? So I used that as a possible decoy. Well, very intriguing about these claims. So, like I said, I always say observe responsibly. But it has some historical merit behind it because a lot of folks are talking about his father. 6'4", 100 and 245 pounds. Man, he's a big dude. But the whole thing is, my friends, we don't know what Stephen Paddock really is. I still say respectfully, right now, he's still the man was a patsy, based on his father's past, and he's probably transfer some of that information on him, especially with the double life. So, see how accurate this is. Like I said, I don't even know Stephen Paddock, so I can't make any judgments. But some of the photos here doesn't really add up. I do still say it's more than one person was involved. So what I'm going to be doing, is post something here about Trump to avenge CIA Vegas massacre on TV. Came out yesterday and has like multiple sources from the Truth Warriors Vimeo site about Paddock's CIA accomplice caught in Tennessee, and his mother owns multiple articles here too and stories like the Bellagio shower exposed. Okay, there's an interesting interview on that, and video as well. And of course, what really got me was to show the mystery briefcase man in Vegas, where people are being escorted by armed folks, and everyone had their hands up. That's a question too. We have to really look at that as well. So some of these things don't add up. And of course, the FBI search, home before murder-suicide. So it's like 5 pages long. So and even more than one multiple shooters, according to some of the witnesses that were at the concert. And of course, the police scanners too. About there was claims too of shootings halfway up. So halfway up is technically it's like 15th, 16th floor, according to police scanners. There's video on that, and like I said, observe responsibly and try to make your own judgment. That's the way I look at it, because I am convinced, in good faith, what I said in the beginning about Gladio in Las Vegas, because based on Operation Gladio, you can go to my archives and check that out as well, because I believe this is an Operation Gladio tactic to put us in that fear. So, like I said, my friends, it's a real shame, but very disturbing. But we cannot let these incidences run our lives and have thrown the white flag. The past is today's greatest teacher. I hope everyone out there will comprehend that and do your own research and make your own decision. But never, ever trust the government, whether it's federal, state, or local, and global. And that is it. I thank everyone for listening. Plus, feel free to download and share throughout your social media networks. If you have any questions, comments, or you send something that's interesting you want to check out, whatever you do, please address your correspondence with decorum. Hit me on Facebook, Twitter, Google+, Spreaker, iHeartRadio, Tumblr, YouTube, Freedoms Network, Scene.life, Minds.com, FutureNet.club, Patreon.com/LookALike3 if you want to be a donor, patron, all that, that'd be great. Plus Gab, which is GAB, is Gab.ai, which is like another version of Twitter, and more free speech, because it even claims that Twitter has been censored. And I'm not really too surprised. Furthermore, you can email me at lookaluck3@gmail.com or lookalucknumbers03@protonmail.com. Alright, my friends, thank you for your time. But always remember that the demoniac resistance helps people so and can liberate humanity. Until next time, take care of yourselves. Keep on spreading love, and may your guardian spirits be with you.